Okay! Yeah, the reason why I brought up Aizen is because it leads into this other thread that is related to the whole get being badass thing. I really hate it when writers just get so obsessed with one particular character that they have to put them on some kind of glorified pedestal all the time. Like, that's why I got so annoyed at the anti-hero in Kamen Rider W, because for the first few episodes he was introduced, he was put on this glorious pedestal, like, look at this guy, he is so unbelievably cool, he is like, he's amazing, he's even more amazing than the main heroes of the show. It's basically when the writers basically introduce someone and they keep banging on about how amazing they are, how wonderful they are, and Aizen's including a villainous example of this, because throughout the entire thing we have Aizen constantly defeating any threat right, left and center, and it's just, it's not fun to watch a character like that, frankly.
Oh, God.
It's just kind of irritating when the authors just get so in love with that character that they just have to have characters constantly remind us of how cool they are, or just making them look weak by comparison. I mean, when you have a villain who's just pretty much stomping through every single one of the most powerful heroes, it's just not fun anymore. And the same also goes for Sasuke as well from Naruto. That's one of the reasons why we dislike him. The fact that the show is constantly telling us, oh, Sasuke is this really cool character, he's like the last survivor of a clan, and he's got this eye that's really amazing. And then it got even worse in the later part after the time skip, where he can apparently take on several of the Kages, and then go straight on to fighting Danzo, then on to fighting Naruto with very little side effects apart from a semi-blindness, which he can still fight with anyways.
Dear God, yes. One of the many, many things I'll be changing if I ever do my tongue-in-cheek rewrite of that
I guess that's why we did like Aizen and Sasuke, because it's not that they're bad characters on their own, it's just that the authors kind of put them on a pedestal that makes them look absolutely ridiculous in comparison to the world they're in, I guess.
Yeah. And on the topic of characters like that we're supposed to sympathize with, I introduce all of you once again to power-ups out of nowhere, defeat everyone I see, no character development for anyone around me, Ichigo Kurosaki.
Yeah. I'd forgotten about him.
Yeah. I think I've explained this before. I think it's fitting that he and Aizen are both the main protagonist and antagonist of the series, because they're literally two sides of the exact same coin. We have the god-modding asshole villain, and we have the god-modding get hero.
So, you really don't like Ichigo?
I don't think I will ever find an anime main character that I despise as much as I do him.
You've often mentioned several times that he refuses to let other characters do. What exactly do you mean by that? Because I know we've touched on it several times, but that's the one...
He steals... This is the thing. This is the explanation I bet most people are wanting from me. He steals the spotlight from everyone. Everyone becomes useless around him in terms of actual fighting, in terms of any plot significance. Once he enters the fray, no one matters. Blame it on bad writing, maybe, but once he enters the fray, other characters, what are those?
Yeah, that is kind of the frustrating element, I do.
Yeah, and he's the main hero, so obviously he's going to get naturally more screen time. That's understandable, but because being the main hero, he also manages somehow to steal the spotlight more than, say, Sasuke. Oh. Yes, he steals the spotlight more than the legendary Spotlight Hog himself.
That is pretty bad.
Yeah, it's not that the value of his character is bad. I mean, whenever I got into the series and was a naive little shit, I actually didn't mind him that much, but whenever I saw nothing but him, I kinda got tired of it.
Yeah, that is true. Kind of thinking about it, I don't think Ichigo's personality has ever really changed much over the years either.
Almost not at all. And furthermore, it is actually part of his personality that he refuses to let people help him or fight their own battles, because the instant he enters the spotlight, he takes over from someone else.
That is true. That is actually the main areas of his character, that he always wants to protect people at all costs, which usually means he ends up taking the fight from someone.
Yeah, in this case, at all costs is literal, because it's costing these characters their characters. This is what I point out. Peko Mundo arc. Finally, Orihime starts standing up for herself. Like, actually retorting against Ulquiorra, standing up to his taunts. Ichigo enters the fray. Damsel in distress.
Oh, yeah.
Case in f***ing point. That was one of the very first things that I knew about Ichigo, too. That was one of my introductions to him. Seeing him just steal the spotlight from a character that was finally starting to stand up on her own. And then just taking it all and subverting the last God knows how many chapters. Just for the sake of, oh hey, I'm the main character. You remember that? Let me remind you.
Yeah, I do agree. I hate it when that kind of crap happens. And due to a combination of technical glitches / time constraints, I had to cut this discussion short if I had any hope of getting MB out this month. I apologise for allowing me to give you the gist. We basically raised up two other character types. The first were the romantic stalkers, basically characters who psychotically follow their loved ones everywhere they go and pretend it's romantic when in actuality it's just creepy. Examples include Amy Rose, Sakura Haruno, and Johnny from Metal Gear Solid 4. As I said at the time, it leads to some really bad writing because it destroys that other character in the process, as it just makes that character sound unbelievably stupid. The dialogue written for these guys is always annoying, and it just basically makes that character into a raving lunatic, frankly. I fell in love with you ever since Shadow Moses. That's why I followed you all the way and tried to get assigned into your platoon, so that I could always be with you. And they try and play it as this romantic scene. I'm just staring at the screen going, that's creepy! You basically had just admitted to this woman that you followed her all over the world and joined the army for no other reason than to get into her pants. It's something I want to express to Japanese writers all around the world. This is not romantic. It's bloody creepy. It's just psychotic. It's not good character trait. The second and last type we brought up were villains that were absolutely horrible people, but the authors tried to justify with a weepy backstory at the last minute. Examples include Deos from Tales of Phantasia and Aizen from Bleach. Again, as we said at the time...
Yeah, that's another thing. Whenever those characters are portrayed sympathetically, oh god.
Yeah.
Especially whenever they try to portray a villain sympathetically. Like that pathetic excuse Kubo tried to give Aizen after he was defeated.
Oh god, yeah. I know I said it at the time, and that was something that really frustrated me. He just wanted someone to be on his level. Bull crap! He was a git through and through.
Yeah, I knew Bleach had reached the utmost level of ridiculousness in terms of trying to make villains sympathetic whenever they tried to make Aizen sympathetic.
I mean, yeah, it's so good for villains to have a sympathetic backstory, but if you want us to feel sympathetic for them, you know, they need actual decent qualities. All of this eventually leads to bad writing in the end, but it's really bad writing to just think that you can just write a weepy backstory and expect us to sympathize with them. I mean, yeah, technically Hitler has had a weepy backstory if you want to get into it, but that does not justify what he did.
Yeah, that is a very good example.
And now for the conclusion. To sum up, the type of characters me and Sven tend to dislike are either when the writer tries to portray the characters as something they're clearly not, like a git as a hero or a villain as sympathetic or psychotic stalker behavior as romantic, or just in some cases when someone's put on a ridiculous pedestal that they're out of reach. I think that's generally what seems to be the thread going through here, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Plus the spotlight stealers. Yeah,
that's true, because I think the best way to solve it, me and Sven, we like to see characters develop, and we like to see, well, characters that we can sympathize and relate to. So just seeing stuff like this crop up again and again and again, it's just frustrating, and I think that's the reason why we rant on these particular characters so much, is because they're absolutely unlikable. We don't want these characters to be portrayed as the hero or someone we're supposed to apparently sympathize with or look up to. It's just really frustrating in that regard.
Yeah, and in some cases, if they just had a better writer, these characters might actually be good.
Yeah, it all comes out of bad writing in the end, unfortunately. So, yeah, I guess that's the one short way to sum up this rant. Bad writing is bad.
Yeah, that gets the point done.
And on that note, that's the end of this discussion. So yeah, if you have your own thoughts about it, who your least favourite character is and why you think you hate characters like him, feel free to post them in the comment section. And with that, we might as well wrap up the show from here. So, that was me, the Jonin Monkey.
And me, Sven the Crusader. I've ranted so long, I'm out of a good segue.
That was Monkey Broadcast, a monthly review and discussion show hosted by the Jonin Monkey and Sven the Crusader. If you feel that you've been the subject of slander or that your copyright has been misused, please PM me and I'll try and get round to fixing it as soon as possible. We also welcome any comments, be it feedback or your own viewpoints on any of the things we've discussed. Until next month, have fun kids!